Hello, and a very warm welcome to International Leadership Week, Day 1. I'm Jerome Goodluck, Business Development Manager at the Institute of Leadership and Management. Very excited to be here. And we have a special speaker on our topic today, which is Get Out of Their Way. We have Curt Blattner. Hello, Curt.
Hi, Jerome.
Hi there. We'll get started shortly. I'll just share a quick introduction to the Institute of Leadership and Management. Some of you are new to our community. We're a professional body that delivers a simple mission to inspire great leadership everywhere. And we serve a global community of 55,000 leaders and managers across 70 international countries. And we help to develop their leadership capability through our community. As mentioned, we have a super speaker. Curt Blattner has joined us. He's in Switzerland, Europe, by Lake Geneva right now, and he will explain the heartbeat of excellence and how leaders and teams can strive on emergence in the coming year. Curt is the author of a book by the same name, The Heartbeat of Excellence, the design of changing sustainability the Swiss way. He is hugely experienced, including a recent post as Director of Research and Development at Nestlé. This is a live session. Please post your questions and we'll address as many as we can at the end of the session. Without further delay, Curt, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Jerome. Well, hello to everybody. I'm very happy to be here, and I would like to share with you some elements regarding emerging change. And as first, why don't you just imagine you're a silent observer of a weekly meeting. Monday morning, it's 9:55. The meeting should start at 10, and everybody's excited. Everybody's talking. There's a lot of energy in the room. There's an exchange about work, about the weekend, about other stuff. 10:05, the door opens and the leader comes in. What happens? Silence. What happened to that energy that was there before? The leader comes in, sits down, and wants to look at the figures of last week. Unfortunately, they are not where they should be. So he asks the team what's going on and what's happening and what they should be doing and what they could be doing. Now, some of the team, they don't really react. Maybe they are on their smartphone under the table. Maybe they're thinking about, I don't know what, the weekend, or some are thinking about the figures. Maybe some are even blaming some of their peers or even the boss for not reaching those figures. But finally, there's the one or the two of the lot that they react and they start in conversation with the boss, and the whole meeting ends with an action plan. An action plan where individual actions are assigned to individual team members, mostly the same names. And the meeting is over and everybody thinks this is a great way of getting great results. You'd be surprised how many times we come across these situations and the people, the team, and the leader think this is the right way. And that's where I would like to start. Obviously, in this example, there's a lot of things going on which could be improved. And what I'm referring to specifically is the way people interact, the way people work together, cooperate. I call those the human relations. Having sustainable, high-performing human relations is a key element for excellence and high performance. Of course, you can get results other ways, and like in the example, I'm sure the results. But you can see on the first slide, and Jane, maybe you want to click in the first slide. You can see that if you are using the time at work for getting human relations solved and making sure that you're cooperating in the right way, then there won't be much time left for getting the output. And what emerging change will enable you to do is you can reach high-performing human relations, high-impactful human relations, and use the time together as a team and as a leader to get better output. Now, mind you, the teams and the leader, they have certain elements and needs which they have to consider and have to be sure that they meet. And to get high performing or high impactful human relations means that we need to do, as a team and as a leader, we need to be able to perform in the right way. Talking about human relations means going into a level of energy, in the level of psychological needs in a team and in a leader, which allows us to be excellent and high performing sustainably. And if you look at the second slide, maybe Jane, you can show us the second slide. You will see that any organization, and I mean any organization, it could be a team, it could be a business, a small business, big business, a corporate, it could be even a country, a nation. In every organization, there's 3 boundaries which we need to consider when we talk about high-performing human relations. And in this slide here, in this picture, you see those 3 boundaries as the external boundary, the major internal boundary, and what we call a minor internal boundary. These elements, these distinctions, they come from Eric Berne. It is the famous psychiatrist in the States that actually founded a theory called today transactional analysis. And what he refers to in these boundaries is the fact that we need to respect the needs at these boundaries. We need to be able to manage the energies at these boundaries, which allows us to be high performing in our human relations and in a sustainable way. If you look at the picture and you see 3 arrows, one arrow coming from the environment, the pressure from the environment, the demands from the environment, we know about these. We know about what's going on when we run a business and what our stakeholders, our suppliers, our customers need. We need to be able to put that in the right comparison and in the right relation with what the organization needs. There needs to be a sign-off, a balance, an agreement. If you look at the organization in itself, you see one arrow going from the team to the leader. This is the energy in the hierarchy. As in the example before, we know that the energy in the hierarchy between the team and the leader is not the same as the energy which we see in the arrow in the team called the minor internal boundary. It is a different energy. And we need to respect that. We need to respect that in our family, in a business, everywhere. And if we don't, we will be trespassing those boundaries. We will not be able to get the mileage out of the full potential that we have. So how do we do this? Well, these psychological energies at these boundaries, they need to be addressed in nothing else than in exchanges, in interactions, in dialogues. And these dialogues, they're so important. I will give you the example of a dialogue in the team. The dialogue in the team, the exchange in the team, the quality of this exchange in the team will have a high impact on how the team will relate with each other and then use their time for doing business, bringing output, bringing performance in their activities, instead of wasting their time in their psychological needs between each other, as in the example in the beginning. We have an opportunity here in the team to make sure that the team can emerge in sustainable, high-performing human relations. And this emergence will allow the team then to address their needs with the leader. The leader then will have the possibility to exchange in a constructive dialogue with the team to make sure that the needs of the team, the needs of the organization are in balance. To make sure that then those needs of the organization, those objectives, what the organization has to reach, is coherent and in coherence with what the team needs to reach those objectives. We call that coherence a key element for making sure that the organization will survive. If coherence is missing, if there's no coherence, if there's a loss of coherence, there's a high chance that what the organization would want to achieve, would want to be able to put in place through the objectives will not be sustained by the team, or only in a minor or not in an excellent manner. These examples, we have many. I have examples which I'm sharing with you in my book about a business, €100 million, several hundred million euro business that actually was destroyed because of the loss of coherence. And I'm talking here not about the activities and the objectives in terms of measurable or measurables. I'm talking about the psychological energy, the needs of the team towards the leader, and the leader being in a constructive dialogue with the team about those needs to make sure that they're aligned with the objectives of the organization. We see this actually today when we look around. Everybody's in the middle of a pandemic crisis in Europe, and I don't have to tell you what's going on. There's a lack of coherence. There's a lack of coherence between what the people need and what the leaders are doing to reach the objectives or want. And that because of a dialogue, because of the lack of a dialogue or constructive dialogue, that will not give the results which everybody is looking for. This happens in business in the same way, and we've seen it many times. So thank you very much for the slide, Jane. I would just like to share with you what are the possibilities we have to make sure that those sustainable, high-performing human relations are put in place, are continuously managed through these dialogues, through a high quality of constructive dialogues in the team and between the leader and the team. We have one example. We have 3 steps we can actually relate to. We have one example. The first step is what we call meteo. It's nothing else than being able to say, what's the weather like today? And usually people look out of the window and say, oh, it's quite foggy, but we're talking about the weather inside. What's the weather inside? And then people start to understand that when they share their preoccupations in the team, when they dare to share, there will be an element of caring and exchange, which is extremely powerful. It's a source of recognition, of stimulation. It's even a source of structure which the team can build on in their cooperation. And once that process is in place, once it becomes a dialogue which is continuous, once it becomes a ritual for the team to interact in that way, maybe start off the meeting with what's the weather like today, they will be able to go much quicker and much more efficient directly to what they need to do in the activities to make the organization succeed. So instead of getting mixed up and mingled up in the psychological games or psychological exchange or unmet needs in the team, they will be clearly all aligned because they know what they have in their cooperation and how they relate to each other, so they can together they can go towards the objectives of the objective as one team. A team is a living entity in itself. A team as a whole has its needs. It's not the needs of the individuals, it's the needs of the team as a whole through the exchange they are doing and through the possibility of making the one and the other part of a bigger thing, of a bigger unit. So the team in itself is a living entity. And when you talk then to the leader, you will see then afterwards that, yeah, the leader thinks that's a good thing. So what is he going to do? Well, that's the excellent question in this situation. I've come into situations where new department heads were hired, and in the beginning, maybe on the first day during a coffee, one would exchange, and maybe the department head with me as the head of the organization, and just ask about how things are going, etc. And very quickly, usually, the person, he or she, would say, I'm really motivated. I will do a great job with my team. I will make sure my team is motivated. I will make sure that, my team and again, my team and my team and my team. And, after maybe a few seconds, I would sit there and ask the gentleman or the lady, who's your team? Well, big astonishment by the person. why is he asking me this now? I mean, you just hired me. And then he would, of course, list up and all the people reporting to him or her. And after another 2 seconds, I would say, I'm sorry, but that's not your team. And then the person would be even more astonished and say, what do you mean? And then I would actually explain and discuss that the team of the leader is not the people reporting to him. The team of the leader are his or her peers. That's his or her team. And once the leader understands that his or her team are not the people reporting to him or her, but the peers, the whole organization gets a new dynamic. A whole organization gets a new energy. That means the leader does not have to motivate his team. You cannot motivate a team. The team must be allowed to emerge, and that will be the dynamic and the energy it will need, not only for motivation, but for getting great results. And all you need to do is get out of their way. Just make sure that you have the possibility of a constructive dialogue with your team so you can discuss the need of the team, its needs, with what you as a leader need as objectives, need the organization to gain, to survive, to make sure that there's a future. That's the leader's job, but not to motivate a team or micromanage a team or make sure the team or make sure the action plan is or make sure the dates are and get out of their way. And once the leader understands that his or her team is the peers, she will do the same thing. And will make an organization so much more powerful. Now, a team who is in such a situation where it has created through the exchange, through the daring, sharing, and caring, an amount of human relations which are sustainably sane and sustainably strong, it will be able to create a cooperation contract. It's nothing else. A contract in this sense is nothing else than a ritualized dialogue. It's not a contract where you sign. It's not something that you put into the archive. It's something that you live. It's the ritualized, constructive dialogue in the team which can create a cooperation contract. That means you don't have to start by scratch all the time. You build on the past and you become sustainably high performing. You become excellent. And such a team then can not only be able to reach the objectives and be excellent in their activities, like any leader, like any team would wish, you'll be able to stand together with the leader and have this constructive dialogue with the leader, emerge in cooperation, so the leader then can talk to the team and the team can talk in another contract, which is called a mission contract, which is this ritualized, high quality dialogue around the objectives. Around the objectives, which are the needs of the leader and the organization, and the needs, the psychological needs of the team. Who else knows the activities of the team better than the team itself? And who else can make the best judgments in a team as a unit about those activities? Once that mission contract is in place, continuously put in place, you have a ritual which allows the leader and the team to react efficiently, very quickly, in a very constructive way, without being bogged up in psychological games or bogged up, mingling up in any other psychological need that is not actually responded or discussed or, built up. The third contract, which I would like to share with you in Emerging Change, is about the vision contract. That is normally the leader's privilege, or that's the leader's devoir. He's obliged, or she's obliged, to make sure that the organization has everything it needs to survive, everything it needs to succeed, become excellent. So the vision contract is, if you think about the circle we saw before, Nothing else than the dialogue with the stakeholders, the customers, and whatnot in the environment, in the external part of the organization. That dialogue is something that the leader will do to make the organization succeed. Now, today we know that many organizations, we have a need of being quick, agile, fast-track innovation. We have the need of responding immediately to what's going out in the environment. And in those situations, a high-performing, sustainably high-performing team, like we explained before, with a cooperation contract, which emerges together, such a team can then issue a vision contract directly with the environment, with the stakeholders, with the consumers, the customers. That doesn't mean that you don't need the leader anymore, not necessarily. This is about contracting with the environment through a vision contract. As such a team which emerges in a cooperation contract based on high-performing human relations takes over leadership. So leadership has a total new connotation then. It's not about being a leader, and we heard about this a lot, what is leadership? The authority of a leader, the organizational leader, and. It's not about hierarchy. It's about making sure that leadership is exerted by the right people at the right time with the right needs. And there, such a team which is high performing in their human relations, such a team will be predestined to make sure that quick, fast, and agile responses are given to what the environment, what the market, what the stakeholders need. I've seen examples of such a team being able to respond to taking leadership and being able to respond to the needs of the market. And I've seen examples of these teams being able to sustain this over years. And they're actually mentioned more than once in the yearly report with regard to their success and their sustainable success. So if you look at the 3 steps in emerging change, you have the cooperation contract, you have the mission contract, and you have the vision contract. The cooperation contract as the motor, the driver for high-performing human relations, where the team actually emerges as one unit, as one team towards the leader. Then you have the mission contract where the leader discusses and dialogues with the team as one unit. And I'm not saying you should not be able to speak to individual people in the team, but when it's about activities, when it's about making the organization great, when it's about making sure that the activities in the team, in the organization become excellent, then the leader speaks to the team as one unit and not to individuals. This allows the leader then to focus on what he or she needs to focus, which is his or her peers. And in that sense, many times the leader will then come into a situation where it's quite awkward because we are not used to working that way. We still believe that we need to motivate our people instead of getting out of their way.
Excellent. Thank you, Curt. Thank you. What an insightful presentation and talk. Thank you so much. And if we may, Curt, we'll move to some questions from the audience. Your topic is certainly evoking lots of interest across our audience, and we'll tackle some now for a few moments. And Curt kindly will move to the hub after the session. So thank you. Starting, there was an early question when you moved to slide 2, Curt, and one attendee shared that you appeared to suggest that the leader is not part of the team. Why is this? Shouldn't the leader be integral to the team? why is there a boundary between the team and the leader?
Thank you very much, Jerome. I am very happy to respond to that question. The sentence, how I would very shortly describe that, is the leader is not part of the team, but is in partnership with the team. And this sounds very simple and easy, but it isn't, because as leaders, we have not been trained to do that. And sometimes we don't really know how to do it very easily. But when I say partnership, then I mean there's a unit which is called team, and there's a unit which is called leader, and those two units together, they're partners. And this partnership is energized by the emergence of the team through their cooperation contract, which allows them these high-performing human relations. And the team as one unit then can speak as a partner with the leader, and the leader can speak as a partner with the team. And when this happens, then you have a situation of dialogue on equal levels with regard to the psychological energy in the organization. It's not about hierarchy. It's not about taking responsibilities off the leader. It's and on the other side, it's not about motivating the team either. It's by simply asking the team to emerge.
Excellent.
That's how I would describe it.
Thank you, Curt. That was excellent. Right, another question, if I may. How should new employees be introduced into a high-performing team?
A new employee?
Yeah. The team is high-performing. How do new entrants join?
That is a very good question, and based on the fact that we've experienced all these different ways that this has happened in our own lives, in their own ways, and I'm not sure, and I do not think there's one best way to do it. However, if you have a situation where the team is in cooperation, where the team has a cooperation contract, is actually emerging as one unit, the team will take care of it by itself, because the high-performing human relations, they are there in the team. The person coming in will be able to relate to that through the constructive dialogue, through the cooperation contract, this ritualized dialogue, in a frequent, continuous way. Now, it will be obviously it will be an element of the new person coming in wanting to do this. But if you want to join a high-performing team, then you want to join a high-performing team. Then you want to be part of the team. So you're not coming in to screw things up or be an antagonist to what's going on. So then you say, yes, such a person wants to be part of the team. So let that person join in, and let that person join in the cooperation contract, and merge and then emerge together with the rest of the team.
Thank you. Excellent. Really, really good. Thank you. We've got time for one last quick question for the moment, Curt, and that is related to the pandemic and the importance of constructive dialogue. How have you seen the pandemic impact constructive dialogue?
See, it's very interesting. I've been working with emerging change so many years, and it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere, and there's nowhere where you cannot draw from this for the benefit of the whole. And it starts with the small, simple line efficiencies in a factory, and you can apply it to enormous crises like we're all living now, which we're really, nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. And when you see what's happening around, I'm talking out of Switzerland, as you see now, and maybe looking around, but even our own country, in your country, I don't know where, there's this, what I call coherence, what we call emerging change coherence, where the psychological needs of the people, I call it the team, but you can call it the people, whichever size you want to take, but those psychological needs, they exist. They will always be there. People will always need stimulation, structure, recognition. That won't go away. It will always be there. And if we don't take those psychological needs into consideration as leaders, and we don't have a constructive dialogue between the objectives of the organization, because talking about the pandemic, the objectives of the pandemic and the organization trying to manage this crisis in the right way, they're obvious. But if that discussion doesn't take place, that dialogue is not constructive, if we're not able to have the emergence of these people being responded to by the leaders in a constructive dialogue, you will lose coherence.
Yes.
And you can lose a lot of money. I've seen a big organization lose a lot of money, but you can even lose much more than money, much more important things than money.
Thank you.
So that's why I mentioned, I actually thought, shall I mention the pandemic in this webinar here? Because as many people think so many different things, and that's correct, that's fine. Yeah. But I'm mentioning in the context of emerging change, nothing more and nothing less.
Excellent.
And you can draw from emerging change for so many different areas in your daily life, professional, private.
Thank you, Curt. Excellent. Well, that draws our webinar to an end for now, sadly. There are many more questions. Curt has very kindly offered to join us on the hub, so please skip over to the institutelm.com website and join the hub. We'll post your questions that we haven't been able to pose for the moment, and they will be in the hub, and Curt will very kindly answer them for us. Thank you so much all for joining us today. There were so many sessions throughout the week, so please do register for more. And we'd like to make particular thanks to our sponsors, Belbin and Edinburgh Business School. Thank you so much for supporting our event. Thank you again, Curt. Thank you all, and see you again next time.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.